Well, 21 months after having Sheila Barden on, it's only fitting that I have the most interesting person I know back on to the podcast. And I do want to give you a quick shout of thanks, Sheila, for there was a when I after I completed your Chad, after I completed your podcast, I realized that I could actually do this because it was a kind of in depth look at you, and I was a little bit nervous at the time, and I'm not nervous at all right now. So we're going to go a little deeper today, hopefully, and we're going to see the other side of the Sheila that social media doesn't see. We'll see if we can drill a little deeper. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. She's driving down Route 66, literally, and she's got, I mean, typical Sheila. She's like, I'm looking at her in a Zoom right now, and she's got like a car with like literally can't even see out her back window. It's full of her suitcases and stuff. So,
If you could see out my back window, though, there's a mountain bike back there.
oh,
But you
okay,
can't.
cool. Okay, I don't see
Yeah.
it. I just see suitcases. So in the last update, 21 months ago, Sheila was into pickleball. She was taking tennis lessons. She was flying to exotic places and laying on tigers. She was talking about the pandemic. Thank God that's essentially what is over. And so since then, as far as I can tell, and she's gonna tell us more, obviously, but she's got a grown up job, which I would consider to be a grown up job for Sheila. She works for a place called Endurolight, and she's into mountain biking. We'll let her talk about those escapades. And so what am I missing? Am I missing anything else? What have you been up to the
I
last
mean,
21 months?
I have been up to so many things. I don't know. In there's a trip to Europe. There's a bunch of trips across the country. Um, there's some crazy concerts. There's a lot of sports. There's as much of maybe an adult job as I'm ever gonna have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of. I mean, I get. I mean, I'm not trying to knock it, but I'm like, it's not a typical gig. Um,
Yeah,
I think of you. I think
I'm very happy.
that's good. That's good. When I think of you, I think of the word gallivant, and I'm like, is that a negative word? So I looked up the word gallivant, and it's like to wander around seeking pleasure or diversion. Is that what you're doing right now? Are you gallivanting down Route 66?
Yes, absolutely. I say that word all the time. I gallivant everywhere, literally
Okay.
the world,
Well,
the whole world.
gypsies tend to gallivant, so you're gallivanting. It hasn't stopped. Well, it's
True.
what allows you to gallivant? I mean, so tell us about the gig. Tell us about Endure Light. What's that all about?
Okay,
It's a
cool.
supplement company. It's a protein company. It's a supplement company. The owner asks you to be what, like the product development director? What do you do? What are you up to these days?
So it's called Endure Elite, but it's
Oh,
okay.
there you go. Oop.
Everybody calls
Ah,
it when they first hear about it. They call it Endure Light, right? That's
yes.
what it looks like. So it's the word endurance mixed with the word elite. So Endure Elite is how you say it, and it's part of like the whole PR with the company right now is trying to figure out how to get people to say it correctly is probably never going to happen. And so, not
It's
at
like the
all
sign.
offended that
You've never seen Seinfeld in your life, but I probably
no,
shouldn't say this. Your company people wouldn't like it, but it's like there's an episode of Seinfeld where they were converging companies as a water company, and it was they made it Moland, like Moland Spring. Anyway, it was a big controversy because the name was all jacked up. But so I thought it was Endura Light. Then I read it today, and I said, "Oh, it's Endure Light." But I'm wrong. It's Endure Elite. All right. Well, you should spell it
endure
like a
elite. Yeah,
cowboy.
endure elite.
So my 2 cents for your people are Leet. That's how you say elite. Then I would say it right. But okay.
But
But it,
elite, you spell ELITE.
I,
So,
I do, but I didn't. Most of us aren't elite. So anyway, I'll let your
yes, you are.
I'll let your folks figure that out. But what do you do for Endure Elite?
So, if you look at my actual contract, I am the brand manager. That I use that term super loose because words really mean nothing to me. But I truly am running a company. So Mark Glacier is the owner. I know Sam's eyes just got real big because
Yeah, yeah, no video yet.
Yeah, that is technically what I do. That's my title. I am not into words, right? I really hate letters after my name, titles. That has never, words don't mean anything to me.
You're a
So,
cowboy, you're not an egghead, correct?
yes. And so the first like description line of the contract says face of Endurely. So really, the only person who can tell me what to do and what not to do is the owner of the company, and that's Mark Glacier. Super awesome. He is the CEO, founder, creator, godfather of NutriBio. So NutriBio was started in 1996 with the idea of no compromise, full label disclosure. What he says is in the products is truly in the products. We have PhD chemists on staff. We have our own lab. We have our own GMP manufacturing facility. We're fully FDA regulated, which less than 1% of the supplement industry in the United States can say. So that's my parent company. And then inside of that, we have Endurely. So Endurely was created for endurance athletes, triathletes, marathoners, ultra marathoners, long distance bikers, century riders, and CrossFitters, like endurance CrossFitters, or I'm sorry, like people who just like to work out a lot, basically. And so my job currently is to go around the country, the world, and just spread the Endurely love, knowledge, and just kind of help everybody gain awareness about what Endurely is and what we do, which is super clean, lab tested supplements and nutrition for people who like to work out, but not in the sense of I want to lift heavy weights all the time. Like sometimes I do, for sure, but I'm not going in and trying to be a bodybuilder. I'm not going in and trying to be a power lifter. It's really for people, functional fitness. I want to go hike the Grand Canyon for 4 hours with my family. And, I need to work out before I do that, during that, all that kind of fun stuff.
Basically, people like you, pickleball one day, in your home gym the next, mountain biking, breaking things the next day, etc., etc.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, cool. Thanks for setting me up. I mean, I know what you do, but I didn't. It sounds like the perfect gallivanting kind of job for Sheila. I mean, it's like it's a good fit, right?
It is 100% a good fit. To give you an idea, I have 178 nights in hotels this year. That's just the hotels that I've booked. So sometimes, like my entire Europe trip, I didn't book any of those hotels. So I had more than 178 nights in hotels this year. I don't know the exact amount, but it's a lot. I spent a lot of time on the road.
Well, in the year 2004, I was in a hotel room 180 nights, I believe. So I understand you're not home very much. But I kind of wanted to examine today, Sheila, was some things that you've said in social media lately, and so the title of this episode is The Lessons of Travel. So I'm just going to go through them one by one, and maybe you can just talk about them. And if you don't want to talk about them, say I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I will never take for granted how small I am in this universe. I think that's a great lesson of travel myself. Can you expand on that?
Absolutely. I have been super blessed my entire life to be able to travel. So even when I was young, my parents, they would take us even on short trips. So I grew up, and I talk about it frequently, that I grew up in a predominantly white Roman Catholic community, super small, about 15,000 people. The hardest like crime in the entire city was like marijuana use. There was no real crime. There weren't hard drugs. It was very like classic American white small town. And so I was super blessed that my parents are definitely gypsies as well, and didn't allow that to like kind of decide the fate of their 4 children. So I have a sister who lives in San Diego, a brother who lives in North Carolina. My youngest brother, he kind of followed me around the country for a while. He now lives in San Antonio, about 40 minutes from me, or well, I guess where I have a house, not really where I live anymore.
Yeah.
And so I was super blessed to realize at a very young age how big the world is and how small we are. So when I am in San Antonio, I find myself living in a 15-minute bubble, right? My grocery store is 15 minutes away. My favorite restaurant is 15 minutes away, or within 15 minutes. The gym I like to go to, the riding trails I like to do, the tennis club, the pickleball courts, my swimming pool, everything is within 15 minutes. And so if we live there all the time, I think we kind of get caught up in this is what everything is in the world. And it's not. So recently I was over in Switzerland and Holland, and I hung out with a lot of the locals in both places, but especially in the Netherlands. And there was probably a 2 or 3 hour period where they were so enamored with the idea of the United States. And oh my gosh, tell me all about New York City. Like, we watch the show Friends, it has to be just like Friends. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it's not at all like the show Friends. Or, you know, oh my gosh, tell me about Chicago, LA. They have this idea of what the United States is like. And I remember telling them at one point and looking them dead in the eyes, and it was a group of like 5 or 6 boys, I say men, but boys. And I said, I just want you guys to understand and know that I grew up in the United States and I was brainwashed to think that America was the greatest nation in the entire world. I said, and we're not. And I don't mean that in a yeah, I know.
No, we're not.
Yeah,
Right.
I know.
Good controversy.
Right? Okay.
Completely disagree.
A whole bunch of people are going to be really mad about that statement, and I'm totally okay with that. Because
okay, fine. Which country is the greatest country on earth then?
Whatever one you are currently in. I will argue that over and over and over again. I've been super blessed to be around the world, and every single country has its own culture, its own people.
Yeah.
And if you are willing to embrace that and become part of that culture, whether you're there for a day, a week, or a month, that will become the greatest country that you've ever been to.
Well, have you been to Ukraine lately?
So unfortunately, yeah, no. Ukraine is clearly in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
right?
And they're great people, by the way, Ukrainians. We have country. Well, I'd be careful because I've got listeners in 40. I thought it was 36. I counted today. We have listeners in 40 different countries right now, and anyway, the Ukraine they're great people. They are resilient people. I love them. But anyway, good.
So I agree. Here's the thing. So you want to talk about Ukraine, right? We can also talk about how we've burned down St. Louis, how we've burned down Milwaukee, right? Like, we can talk about a lot of tragic things that have happened in the United States and not natural disasters, right? We have
part of our history.
there are
Yes.
awesome parts of the United States, but when I'm over in Netherlands, they didn't know about the Uvalde shootings. Also, so somebody shot up an elementary school in Texas. Oh, that happened, but they don't hear that. All they see is Friends and
Hollywood.
Friday Night Lights, the show Friday Night Lights. They brought that up. Yeah, so in their head they have this beautiful image, and I clearly love America, right? But we have our own faults. So I think that was when that 3-hour conversation with the boys, it was a very vivid reminder how tiny of a speck each and every one of us is.
Yeah.
And how easy it is to get caught up into our little 15.
We're very, I just went to Ireland. I hadn't been abroad for a while, and I went to Ireland, and yeah, to me, the message is we're insignificant. I mean, in a way, we're very insignificant. I mean, when I'm standing at a castle where somebody had their head freaking chopped off 400 years ago, and like I'm important. I don't think so. I mean, it's called perspective. That's what it gives you. So yeah.
So I just think it's that good reminder that the more you travel, the more you realize how insignificant you really are, and how do you change that? How do you leave a legacy? How do you go from being mediocre to making a change that is lasting in the universe?
Sheila, you have to repeat that. How do you go?
Is it through podcasts?
Yeah. Are you there right now? Yeah. Okay, you're there. It broke up a little bit, but we'll keep it. That's fine. No, I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know. I guess my way is a podcast. I don't know, and I don't even know what I'm doing with this podcast. But here we are. This is, I just published my 51st episode today. It's like wow. But yeah, we all got to do it. We're all trying to find our way home, basically. That's where I'm gonna. That's where this whole. That is So that's what we'll talk about here in a little bit.
I had
go ahead.
The day that and I don't know if you're gonna ask about this, we'll talk about it or whatever. But the day that I dislocated my elbow and ended up in the emergency room, I got a text message the very next morning, and it was from a friend who said, "Hey, just checking in on you. How is everything?" I said, it's been better, it's been worse, but I'll survive. And I didn't realize how important the words I'll survive were until he texted back, "Have you heard about our friend Steve?" I said, "No, what's up?" And right about the same time that I went down on my mountain bike on Friday, our friend Steve, very healthy doctor, passed away of a heart attack while on a run, out running to better himself, passed away on of a heart attack.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're worried about, these insignificant things. And I could die, like I could have a heart attack right now.
Yeah, so could I.
It's just
but
the truth.
There we are. Yes, that's true. That's why you've got to make every inch of your life count. And so, yeah, I mean, for you, it's doing what you're doing, basically.
Yeah.
Going out and getting and getting the most out of it. Okay. There's another statement. You said, travel has taught me happiness and heartbreak. What does that mean?
I think that it means, just like I kind of said a few minutes ago, I am willing to embrace the people and the culture in every single country that I go to. So that brings me pure happiness, right? To be fully immersed into a culture that I have never experienced before. And the moment that I have to get on that plane or in that car or on that boat and leave, it is pure heartbreak. And so it's that moment of realization that you can't be there forever. You can't be at every place in the world forever. And so leaving little pieces of me behind, and then in place of the parts that I leave behind, hoping to fill them with pieces that I take with me. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. That's great. It's really interesting to know this is the way you look at things, because a lot of people don't get you. So this I like this. The other thing that travel has taught Sheila, how to value my tribe when I leave them behind, which you basically just kind of just answered it, right? I mean,
yeah, I am a very much so an extroverted introvert. So I can attach to people very quickly, and I do. And I think some people would think that's a major fault, right? I can fall in love with someone very quickly. I can love them for being authentic. I can love them for being true. I can love them for welcoming me with open arms. And I guess that's another piece of the heartbreak. Like, I can live somewhere for a very short amount of time and feel so connected to that family, to my friends, to that person. And I can love them for that forever and maybe never see them ever again in my entire life, but value that short amount of time that I had with them.
okay, that's unique. That's unique.
It is unique. It
is. It's unique. Most people don't relate to that, but I mean, it's unique.
They don't at
all. Travel has taught Sheila to appreciate small acts of kindness, and it's taught her to let go of the things that no longer bring her joy, which we kind of touched on the last podcast in a way, I think. You want to expand on that?
I don't remember talking about it in the last podcast. I'll be honest. I mean, my brain is in so many different places at all times that
it's a hoarder's house, as you said. She said you described it as a hoarder's house.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a mess in there. So remind me of what I said.
You said it taught me to appreciate small acts of kindness, and it's taught me to let go of things that no longer bring me joy.
So I think the small acts of kindness are kind of self-explanatory. When somebody, when I was in Switzerland, right, and it started to rain and somebody offered me an umbrella. A local was like, oh, clearly this girl has no idea what she got herself into. Those types of small acts of kindness. Or when I was in Netherlands and I knew somebody for like a day and a half and they were like, come have family with come have dinner with my family. Right? Those kind of small acts of kindness where I don't have to have dinner in a restaurant by myself. So you learn to really appreciate people's willingness and openness to embrace you as a person, as a human, kind of as like a lost soul who's just trying to find the answer to the universe that is clearly not 42. And if anybody, I don't watch movies, but I know that is from Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, so thank you for acknowledging that I know some type of movie reference.
Yeah, congratulations. I'm shocked. And I don't even know it. So now I'm
What'd you say, Sam?
I don't even know that one, so I'll have to go check it out. Oh man. Okay.
So somebody told me that once. So
Okay.
and then just letting go of things that no longer bring me joy. So at one point in my life, can you hear me, Sam? Because you're kind of like you're a little bit broken, but
yes,
you can
I
hear me
can
clear?
hear
Okay,
you.
cool.
Yes.
Perfect. At one point in my life, my
Now I can't hear
entire
you.
life
Yeah.
revolved solely around CrossFit. Right? I ate, drank, slept, everything mattered around CrossFit. And then I had my second back surgery, and
Now I lost
you're
you,
breaking
kid.
up real bad.
Yep.
I think you're
See,
probably
let's see if we can write. Do you want to write it out a little bit, or
you're
you think
probably
it's gonna?
having the same thing that I'm
What's that? You're back
having.
now.
Let's wait it out. Maybe a couple of. Okay.
Okay.
I'm down to 2 bars, but it might
Living
be
on the
okay.
edge.
So always. So make sure that this has to make it into the podcast. Sam is very, very professional. He's doing a great job trying to make a very professional podcast. However, he is dealing with someone who is not at all professional, who is a child, and who lives by the seat of her pants. And so Sam is trying to make a very well-rounded and good sounding podcast.
Well, that's
And
good. We're doing a
I'm
good
just
job so far.
sweet. Okay, I'm just trying to make it
Yeah.
to Tulsa
Yeah.
today. That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So at one point I ate, drank, slept, everything revolved around CrossFit. Surgery.
Yeah.
CrossFit no longer
Not work.
competing in
Sheila, we can't. You're.
I still
Hey, can you hear me? You're
I
breaking
can
up.
hear you.
Breaking up. Okay, pick up with at one point
Okay.
CrossFit. I can't see you anymore. Just do
Okay. I still only have 2 bars, so I think I'm gonna break up again.
Oh shit. Waiting for those 3 bars.
We might have to save this and I got 3 bars. I got 3 bars.
Okay. All right. At one point CrossFit.
Sweet.
Chad,
Yeah.
we're picking back up. We're picking back up, Chad.
Poor Chad. At one point, I ate, drank, slept. My entire world, my entire life revolved around CrossFit, training, competing, CrossFit, CrossFit, CrossFit. And then after my second back surgery, I realized that CrossFit no longer brought me joy. And more specifically, competing in CrossFit no longer brought me joy. And so I just stopped. One day I stopped training for time. I don't know when it happened. I can't pinpoint the day. I can't pinpoint what went through my brain. But I know that I stopped training for time. I stopped training to be the best in the world because it no longer brought me joy.
Well, yeah,
Right?
several back surgeries and shoulder surgeries. Maybe that was it. That would be it for me. But hey, I don't.
It wasn't, and that's the thing. It wasn't the surgeries. I don't know what it was, but
you let it go. You let
I
it
let
go.
it go. Yeah.
However,
And
you were in a CrossFit gym today. I saw you. You were in a
I
CrossFit gym
was.
today.
So I still work out in a CrossFit style or
Yeah.
at a CrossFit gym 3 to 4 days a week.
But just for
I'm
fitness, just to keep moving,
So I've been at
Shit.
the Southwest, and every single one of them, it's been super cool.
Can you
They
back?
all still. Oh fuck! I'm back to 2 bars. Mother trucking A. I hate this B.
What you
I
gonna
can
do?
back up to wherever you want, Sam.
You said 3. It was
Be
you.
more,
You put up 3
professional.
fingers. You said something about 3. That we're
Okay.
running out of time. You're running out of time. So let's do this. It's gonna end in 10 minutes. So you remember the 3 thing?
Yeah.
The 3 pickups. We'll pick up on 3.
So I was able to stop at 3 different CrossFit gyms in the past 3 days. And the cool part was that every single one of them is still recording times the old school way, the very traditional, when I started CrossFit in 2011 way, which is to write someone's name on the whiteboard and then write their time next to it. Mm-hmm. And so every single workout I've had to drastically modify. And I don't use the word scale because I feel like there's that negative connotation for people, and there shouldn't be. I had to modify to my current ability, which is to not use my right arm at all before surgery.
And watch your freaking back.
You my back is golden.
Oh, okay.
Yo, my back
you're still back squatting 300 plus pounds. Sorry, you moron. You know I love you, so I can call you a moron, right?
But, you can call me any name you want. And every word that you say about me is 100% true. So the community, right? I have had to modify, but I've still done these workouts very, very fast. And so everybody gathers around the whiteboard at the end, and the coach says, okay, Sam, what's your score? What was your time? And then, okay, Travis, what's your score? Okay, Andy, what's your score? And they all say like whatever, and then they all know that I quote unquote beat them, right? I finished the workout before them, and they look at me and they're like, okay, Sheila, what was your time? And I'm like, smiley face. And I'm like, huh?
Good for you.
And I personally know my time, right? Like I know. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Did you not look at the clock? I'm like, yeah, I did. And I got a smiley face. I said, I came here for a good time, not a long time today.
Yep,
I said,
I beat the cap.
Yeah. And so then it usually goes into the question of, oh geez, sorry. I forgot to reset my cruise, so I just like stopped traffic on Route 66. It's fine.
That's fine.
And then it usually begs the question, everybody, they're like, huh? Why don't you care? And then I have to explain, I can no longer try to be competitive, right? Because it will light a fire.
Yeah. Shit.
Sam?
Hi.
I have 4 bars, so I don't know what my deal is.
You can no longer afford to be competitive or something like that.
Yeah. No, I can. Yeah, great.
Chad, picking back up, Chad.
I can no longer care about what my score is, because I know how addictive of a personality I have and how easy it is for me to spiral into that competitive mindset again. So I can't consciously be thinking of my score, my time, how fast I'm going. Am I beating anyone else in class? So the moment that they ask for my score, I have to knock it out, because I will get addicted again. I know I'm addicted to the endorphins. I'm addicted to the adrenaline. I'm addicted to the blackout feeling of competing. Mm-hmm. And so I have to then explain every time that I walk into a new CrossFit gym why my score is a smiley face, because I'm here for a good time and not a long time.
Well, I'm proud of you. I think that's growth myself. So good for you.
Thank you.
I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. Okay. You recently posted, don't ask me to stay because I'll always leave silently without a hurrah, and I can't promise that I'll be back, which we just talked about a little bit. So my question, and as a follow-up, is, what are you running from, Sheila?
That's a great question. That is such a great question.
Thanks.
I think honestly, I am running from mediocrity. I'm running from being stagnant. I'm running from being stuck. Yeah.
Are you running to something? Are you running to something?
Yeah, maybe I'm running to the next adrenaline high, the next endorphin dump. I'm running to the next culture, the next experience, the next story, the next adventure. I don't know if it's so much that I'm running from anything or that I'm running to something. I'm just running.
Well,
I'm just going.
Forrest Gump again, a little Forrest Gump parallels, because the question actually came from Forrest Gump, which we mentioned it last time, because there's a scene, and it's one of the few movies you have seen. There's a scene where she says, or something's like, "Everybody want to go to San Francisco?" Well, yeah, far out. Here we go. There's another scene where Jenny, it just been with Forrest. It was Forrest's greatest day, and out the door she goes, and the cab driver asks, "What are you running from?" And I swear to God, I think about you sometimes in that scene. So, in your answer, we'll get to that in a second, because I was laughing for a specific reason. I'll tell you in a second why that was. Okay. And I can't believe I can talk to you like this. I don't, I'm being as straightforward as possible, and you know that I'm a straightforward person. So there we go.
Oh yeah.
All
I like it
right.
because it's a good question because I don't know the answer.
Right. Well, it's honest. Thank you. I didn't think you'd lie to me. Okay, this isn't the itinerary I envision in my head, and as I try to see the world before I die, but it absolutely is the journey my tiny soul needed. Now, first of all, I think you have a huge soul, but okay. What do you mean by that?
I think that even as a child or maybe early adulthood, I still had the picture perfect life vision in my head, like what everyone thinks the American dream is supposed to look like. And I think I still believed that I needed the title after my name. I still needed everybody's approval. And I don't know when that switched exactly, because even as a child, right, I didn't care to fit in, but I still knew what the American dream looked like. I still knew what this quote unquote ideal life looked like, what the keeping up with the Joneses meant. I understood all of that. I never wanted to be exactly like that, but I thought that I had to be like that. And so I don't know when that switched, when it went from white to black for me, but there's no gray zone for me, right? There's no oh, it went very white, like this is your perfect ideal life, to very black, like, yo, I don't fit in anywhere in this world. I don't fit into a box. I don't fit into a hole. I don't fit into an octagon. I created some weird ass shape that I am now like constantly evolving and moving around, or maybe it's moving around me, or I don't really know. But it pulls me in all kinds of weird directions all the time. And yeah.
Hmm. Again,
It's not
you're leading me back to my punchline here. It's your answers are very. I'll tell you in a second what I think. Okay.
they're very Sheila.
Well, they're more than that. There's three questions I'm going to ask that will ultimately get me to my conclusion. Okay. All right. Can you find peace, Sheila, without going to war with yourself? Shit.
No, I can't. I think lots of people can, probably, but I am definitely at constant war between what I think the world and the universe wants from me and what I know I can give the universe, if that makes sense.
Oh, interesting. It's a different take than what I thought you said.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I am definitely at constant war with what I think the universe and the world wants from me and what I want to give the universe, or what I think the universe or people around me need.
Right. So you truly can't find peace until you go to war. That's
Yeah, I don't
okay.
think you can.
Okay,
No.
you passed the first question. The second, well, not pass, but you're still leading me down this direction. Are failures the greatest gifts of life?
Only if you learn from them. Failures are only the greatest gifts in life if you are willing to learn from them.
Yes.
So if you, the classic definition of idiocracy, if you make the same mistake 10 times, or you do the same thing 10 times and you don't learn from it, then, and you didn't learn from your failure, then no.
That's insanity.
For me, okay, insanity, not idiocracy, insanity.
Yeah.
But yes, failure is the only thing that has led me to this exact moment.
Yep. Okay, you're 2 out of 2 on your little test. 3. I'm not sure how to ask this. People think that I'm very serious, and if you listen to my podcast, we're kind of building on this theme this season. But someone said that just
You're gonna
because
have
I'm
to
not
ask me again here. Oh, one bar. I can't hear you. Hold on.
Okay.
I think I'm coming up to like a little city, so we should be good. Go ahead.
Okay. Chad, picking back up. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but well, I do know where I'm going with it. But and it's a theme that I'm searching about myself this season, since this is my therapy, the podcast. A lot of people think that I'm stoic, etc., and I'm serious, and a lot of people can never figure out why I don't smile for photos, because the simple answer is I'm a terrible poker player. I'm serious, but I am not going to hide behind a smile. Does Sheila ever hide behind a smile?
Yes.
You do. Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely hide behind a smile.
Would you rather?
Yeah,
would you rather not, or is just the way it's something you intentionally do?
Oh, it's a tricky question.
Yes,
I don't
it is.
hide behind a smile frequently.
Okay.
So I don't hide behind a smile frequently, right?
Yeah.
It is not my go-to, and it's not something that I do consciously. I would say that the times that I hide behind a smile are when I'm trying to protect those around me. So I don't hide behind a smile to protect myself by any means, but I will hide behind a smile to protect the people that I love, that I care about, that I hold close to my heart.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Okay. So the reason go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know what I was going to say.
Oh,
I don't know what I was going to say.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be a better host and not cut freaking guests off. My apologies. But I was the
no,
last
you're doing a great job. Most of the time, I just ramble. I have no idea what I'm doing. So.
Oh, bullshit. So the reason I ask you the last 3 questions is because those are 3 key points. Like, you've got to meet David Goggins, dude, because it's just like, we talked about this last time, and you still haven't read his book, and I wish you would get his audiobook, because I just finished it, and it's like talking to Sheila, only it's like talking to Sheila. So I think that you would find it fascinating. You agree with like everything that he says, and it's just, I know, and I'm not asking you to listen to it because it's motivational. I think you would find it fascinating. Because there aren't very many people like David
Hey,
Goggins and Sheila Barden. There just aren't, and you're fascinating. So it's my next, my second plug. Will you freaking just listen to the freaking audiobook? Just do it. Okay,
the
go
chances,
ahead.
Sam, I would like, I don't
Eh,
lie.
eh, It
I've
won't bore
never
you. I guarantee
I've
you, it
never
will not bore you.
once I've never once made it through a motivational book, a self-help book. I don't even think I've
But
made it two
but it's
pages into any of that kind of stuff.
I
All
know
my motivation
I
is
I
intrinsic.
I know. But wouldn't it be cool to read somebody else who thinks like you do, so you won't feel so fucking weird? How's that?
No, because I like being a weirdo.
Okay. All right.
I don't, I mean, okay, people are constantly searching for other people like that. They want to fit in, they want to find other people that look like them, that act like them, that talk like them.
Yeah.
My favorite people in the whole world and the people that I tend to get along with the best
Or
are
different.
people that are the exact opposite of me.
Well,
The
that would
exact opposite.
explain why you and I are
I
on the freaking line here.
exactly right. Because politics is like the exact opposite. I like don't like it. I
Well,
don't want to think about it. I want to.
I'm out of politics,
Um.
kid. I'm out of that, but
Well,
I
yeah,
don't.
you're now.
Yeah, but
I I have a friend who's gone to prison 2 times, right? And has made some terrible life decisions. And he's one of my favorite people in the entire world. Um, because he's learned from his bad life choices, right?
yeah.
And he is the exact opposite of me, right? While I skirt the lines of rules frequently, right? I know
Yeah,
smart enough that if a bar fight starts, I'm gonna walk the other way and not break a bottle and stab somebody, right?
yeah,
Like,
it's not
so I,
not the best.
yeah, not great life choices,
Yeah.
right? Like, not real great life choices. And so I'm attracted to people that aren't like me, and I just other people, I don't know, like the
I'm gonna
idea
kid.
of
I someday I'll kidnap you, and I'm gonna force you to listen to it. So screw you.
I know, fair,
Um.
that's
Uh,
fair.
all right. Here is a question that I asked another guest of ours last week, and I stumped this person. This I think I stumped her. But the question is, could Sam be a CrossFit coach?
I have not seen you try to coach anyone in several years. My gut says yes, that you could because you have an analytical brain. So you can break things down. CrossFit
No.
coaches have to be able to take high level physics and anatomy and body movement and dumb it down to a kindergarten level. So, can you dumb things down enough and say, you might know all of the human anatomy, but can you just teach someone to balance their foot, right? Yeah, I think
Hmm.
you could.
Fascinating answer. That wasn't the answer I got from the other person, but fascinating. Yeah. So I'm an egghead. Thanks. Um,
Sorry.
Interesting. Okay. Another kind of a question I've been asking this season is: do you, Sheila Barden, do you feel, do you think, or do you know?
Okay. Interesting question.
I think so.
Because if you listen to people talk, they will tell you this answer. When I talk, I say all three of those things. I think that we should do this. I rarely say, I feel like we should do this. So I'm not a real feely person.
Who do you say that to? Who do you say that to? Because I don't relate to the feel bullshit at all. If somebody says, I feel like we should look at it this way. Well, I think you're an idiot. But I mean, I don't feel anything. But who do you say that to?
Feel
Because you have
would
to
be
communicate that way to some people.
You do, yeah. And it's usually to people who I know are a little bit more sensitive. Like if you are empathic, if I know that you are a very empathic person, and that's just an energy you give off, I will use the word feel.
What was the word you just used that I never heard of? Empathic? What?
Empathic, like empathy. If you're an empathic person.
Okay, empathic. I thought it was empathetic, empathic. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so empathetic is a thing, but if you're an empathic person, like you're just like, you show a lot of empathy, right? Then you're a feeler. And I know that in order for me to relate to you, to get my point across to you, I need to use the word feel.
Okay. But what do you personally do? What do you think, or do you know?
I'm a thinker. Yep.
Oh, you think? Okay.
Yep. 80% of the time, I'm a thinker. I will only use the word no when I fucking know. Right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Chad, that you have to beat that out. I'm not going to use the word no if I haven't experienced it myself, or if I don't have firsthand experience with it. I'm not going to use that word.
Well, the older you get, the more you use it. By the way, I've got about, I don't know how many years on you, but I mean, yeah.
I use the word I think a lot. I think that we should do this.
Oh, I do too.
I think that this is the best solution. I think that whatever. Yeah. And again, I will only use the word I know that Sedona is beautiful, right? I've been to Sedona. I think that the Swiss Alps are beautiful. I've never seen them, but I think in pictures they're pretty freaking beautiful. But I've never seen them with my own eyes.
Yeah. Well, you there? Shit. There. Yep. Okay.
I have 3 bars too.
Okay, go back. Okay, so you think? Okay,
I have 2 bars. 3 bars.
3 bars. I only have one more question, so we're doing good.
Sweet.
Okay, yeah, that's just an interesting little question of the season that I've been saying. So, my last question is: there's a Blackberry Smoke song that I posted the other day, and I actually thought of you. And the line of the song is, they say that you want to go to know that you want to come home, which I think that's very profound. I mean, I assume you agree with that statement or understand it. Oh, you don't understand it.
I understand that statement. I understand it.
Okay.
I cannot relate to that statement.
Yet, but you will someday. What? You can't relate to that statement yet, but you will someday. I know that you. I think that you will. I it's just like, it'll be a different season. Oh, she's shaking her finger at me. Shaking her finger at me.
I was pointing at the windmills that were off in the distance. There's my windmills.
I'm sorry, I can't see them.
Yeah, no, they're off in the distance. The big windmills are out there. Everywhere feels like home to me.
Well, you are a gypsy.
And people don't relate to that.
Okay, so a home is not a physical place for you, I guess. But this question that I'm about to ask, I want you to define home as your physical location where your dogs are and the place that I went to. Are you there? Yeah, you're there. So what's your favorite part of being at that physical structure called home? And you can't say family, you can't say dogs. What's the favorite part of that physical structure or of that place called home? that the definition of home being there.
Wait, so you want me to think of home as a physical structure? You don't
For
like,
now. For now. You know that place in San Antonio where you got a lot of your stuff and your dogs and stuff. What's your favorite part
yeah.
about that place? But you can't say
Wait,
dog.
but you just said you just said I can't say dog. So
Right. I'm forcing you to think or feel or know.
I I'm I don't that is a very hard question for me because my house could burn down today, and as long as the dogs made it out okay, I don't need anything there. Nothing, no physical object brings me that joy.
Yeah, I mean that's fascinating.
Every material, everything that is material that is at that house right now, I can replace.
Yes. Yes. That's true.
I can replace everything.
So I mean, if your home gets hit by a hurricane or tornado or whatever, you would it's big deal. I mean, and that's fascinating. I appreciate your candor, by the way. I really appreciate your candor. That's why you're a guest, because you are freaking. I mean, you don't bullshit anybody. That's truly how you feel. That's how you feel, and that's how you think, and
that's how I feel.
You damn near know it at this point.
Yeah. That is one of the things that in my life I might truly know right now is that if I went home to San Antonio Sunday night and the house was not there and it was just an empty lot, okay, so be it. If the dogs made it out safe, so be it. Fine.
I knew that dog disclaimer would make you dig.
Yeah, that's really and there's not one material thing on this earth that I am attached to. Nothing.
Oh, I'm not either. I mean, well,
well, what's your answer to the question?
What's my answer? Oh, we're gonna flip the tables here. Well, honestly, my office down here, my little den, I really like it down here. It's my little podcast studio. I'm surrounded by past things of my life. I have and I'm in this really comfortable chair right now, and I'm looking out the window, and watching a cat and our black squirrel. And to me, it's a comfortable place that's mine. But you're right. You could have this wherever you are. And when Heather and I lived in Pennsylvania, home was there. So it's wherever you're at. That's where home is. And so hey, maybe that's the greatest lesson of travel.
Maybe that home is everywhere. Home is the people. Home is Netherlands felt like home when I was there. I could live in Holland and be happy. I could live in Switzerland and be happy. I could live in Thailand and be happy. I could live in the Cayman Islands. I could live in Barbados. I could live in Honduras and be happy. And for me, it's as long as I'm willing to embrace the people and the culture, that's home.